Welcome to Trenton Today on WBCB. Once a month we get together with the mayor of Trenton, New Jersey. We're over here in the Great Garden State, and we pepper the mayor with a bunch of questions to find out what's up here in Trenton today. And joining us, our student guests today is Jess Mazzario. Jess, good morning.
Morning.
Great to be with you. Mayor Gusciora, thank you so much for giving us some time. Great to be back with you again.
Great to be here, and we hear the school bell going off telling us to start.
Tonight is back to school night here at Trenton Central High School, and we get to be back here, which is really nice for us. We spent a couple of months over at the mayor's office in City Hall. We appreciate your setting us up over there, but good to be back here at Trenton Central High School, the home of the Tornadoes. Jess, to get us started, tell us a little bit about what you have been able to do as part of the media program here at Trenton.
Honestly, it gives us so many opportunities. For example, to what I'm doing now.
Yes. Well, it's great to have you with us today. This is awesome. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your school day. I know, like every minute of your school day is pretty much scheduled. So nice to be with you this morning for sure.
And when you apply for an internship at BCB, you could say, you know me.
Yeah.
You know my work.
Well, it sounds like you guys, have you covered some of the mayor's events, and you're a photographer?
Yes.
Yeah, she's paparazzi. Yes.
Yeah.
She jumps out of bushes and takes pictures
I'm
when
everywhere.
I'm coming out of a
everywhere and
restaurant.
anywhere. That's why I know so many people. Like, there's no point in introducing me to almost anybody because I just know so many people.
Jess covered the ribbon cutting for the turf field,
Yep.
the brand new turf field that we put in, the city put in. We bonded $1 million to get it done, and so we're really excited about that.
It was a very excellent job, by the way. It looks amazing.
How's the reception of it from the student body?
Everybody's loving it. They're saying it's really cool, and the design is really amazing. The whole tornado in the middle, and the footballers are very happy about it.
Well, I want to talk about some things happening around Trenton. I saw the Trenton Soup Kitchen had their 40th anniversary marked, and this Saturday they're going to do a barbecue thing. That is a group that really has been serving this area for obviously 40 years now, but still active, still engaged. Are you going to be at the barbecue?
Yeah, I'll be stopping by. I've been to a number of the celebrations, but it's amazing how they just started in small quarters. They serve hundreds of meals a day, and it's a really needed service, particularly in our community. And they do great holiday meals for Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. They also offer now computer classes, job training. They do counseling. So they do so much more than just opening the doors and feeding people in need.
Tell us about the Montgomery Street Plaza upgrade. How has that been received by the community?
Great. It's in Mill Hill, and it was erected during the bicentennial in 1976. And unfortunately, the plaza had become to disrepair. The cobblestone broke up, and then the George Washington statue was vandalized. We restored the entire plaza using grant funding, and so it just makes the neighborhood that much more attractive. Architect Housing, senior housing overlooks the plaza, as well as Mill Hill Playhouse, Passage Theater, and we're really excited that we were able to accomplish that.
What kind of price tag does a project like that have, and where does Trenton find the money to make some of those rehabs? I know that project follows the 1888 Pratt Street Bridge and some of the lighting projects that you're doing at the Mill Hill Theater, and HVAC stuff that's going on at some of those facilities to make sure they're up to par.
Well, we've been using CDBG funding from the feds. We've also used American Recovery Funds.
CDBG. That sounds like a club in New York City.
Community Development Block Grants.
Oh, no, that's CBGB, I think.
Yeah, that's.
Anyway.
You're thinking of the club that used to hang out till 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
CBGBs.
That's it.
Yes. I forgot. In UMFUG.
But you're talking about CDGB.
community development block grants.
Okay.
It's a federal program where they, I think last year we got $6 million, and they're supposed to help community type infrastructure just like that. We also in turn actually give grants to a lot of the nonprofits. Trenton Area Soup Kitchen has gotten grant funding before, Meals on Wheels, and things like that. Passage Theater is a non-profit. Although we own the building, the roof needed repairs and the HVAC, the air conditioning for the theater, needed to be replaced. So we have a great community theater that has all new sprucing up, but you'll be able to watch a play in comfort, knowing that the air conditioning is working.
Gotcha. Here with Trenton today, Mayor Gusciora, great to be with you. I think the big news is that there's an election coming up. Give us a little bit of a civics lesson. What is election day? How many city council spots are up for voting?
Great. The mayor and council, the entire city government is up for election on November 8th. The mayor's term is 4 years, so I was elected 4 years ago in 2018. We have 7 council people. We have divided the city in 4 wards: north, east, west, south. Each ward has a council person assigned to the wards, and then we have 3 council people that are at large. They cover the entire city. So it makes up 7 council people, and the mayor are all up on November 8th.
I mean, that could be a big change when it comes to the direction of Trenton. Jess, what are some of the issues when it comes to either city council or the mayor's office that you would like them to address?
I would say the violence in the city, especially, and the illegal dumping. But I know Mayor Gusciora is doing a great job with that, and he's very. One thing I really like about him, and I'm saying this like honestly, is that basically I don't really before, like, I've never really seen like mayors being so like, how do I say it, like so involved in their community. Like they're showing up to events, they're talking to high school students, and they're really busy people. They don't have to come and talk to us, but he makes the time and he does it.
Well, I think that's important, that a mayor should be out there. I look at any executive, even the governor, as the cheerleader for, if it's the governor, they should be the cheerleader for the state, and I think the mayor should be the cheerleader for the city. And you really need to be out in the community to know what is happening, what are on people's minds, how you can fix things. That's the best part of my job, is going down and somebody yelling at me about a pothole in front of their house, and you look at it and you're like, oh, that's a small pond, and you get to fix that. The violence is across America, but it's on my plate every day. The police director doesn't hesitate at 4 o'clock in the morning to give me a call about something that has happened. And I think that's also important, that the mayor know where the violence hot spots are and how we're going about addressing things. One of the things is, during the last 4 years, we brought on 68 new police officers, but you can't arrest your way out of crime.
Right.
So we did other things, looked for alternatives to violence. We created 2 street teams of counselors, ex-offenders, who would actually go out and talk to some of the gangs and try to get them on the right path. We also did a lot of expanded summer programming. I don't know if you've seen any of our new basketball courts. We refurbished the basketball courts in our parks. We made sure that our pools are operating, and that we hired 200 youth during the summer, gave them summer jobs so that they could work at the pools, they can work in the parks, and they can work at some of the summer camps. And then both police and fire started junior academies. The fire department, they actually, the kids went up to visit the World Trade Museum. So they did some really cool things during the summer, but it was an opportunity to really engage the youth and give them stuff to do.
Jess brought up a couple of good points before we got started with Trenton today about crime in Trenton. And one of the things was being more serious about small crimes. And I guess it's like the broken window theory, where if there's a neighborhood that has broken windows in it, then people are more inclined to break other windows and to do things that are wrong. So if you take even the smallest infractions a little more seriously, then maybe the problem is resolved. People don't get into more serious stuff. It also seems like across the nation that prosecutors are not being as serious about small crimes. What's your response to that?
I agree that there's definitely something for the broken window theory. Illegal dumping. A lot of people feel that they can use the alleyways and some of even the parks as a dumping ground for construction debris and just even household debris. We just had a Guatemalan Day parade. We had 10,000 visitors that lined the streets. And in the morning, we went on the parade route just to clean up the sidewalks and all. And we found 2 mattresses. We found somebody had just thrown on the sidewalk a rug. We picked that all up, and then on our way back, there were 8 more mattresses. So somebody must have said, "Oh, it's mattress day."
Wow.
So we proactively clean up some of these illegal dumpings, but we're also prosecuting when we do catch people that are illegally dumping. Part of our ordinance is we take their vehicles, and that usually sends the message that I shouldn't have done that. So we're trying to really address some of these small crimes that just lead up to the bigger violence. We're also trying to take down some of these abandoned houses. I took down 300 houses during the last 4 years. We probably have at least another 300 to go.
Yeah, Jess, that was another point that you brought up. You see a lot of those houses that probably should get rehabbed.
Yeah.
And again, if the neighborhood looks better, maybe people act a little bit better.
Well, they also have more pride in their neighborhood.
Yeah.
I've gone to visited classrooms and I've said, how many people in here live on a road with an abandoned house? And virtually everybody, including the mayor, raises their hand. And it degrades the neighborhood. It doesn't add to the value of the neighborhood. So we try to take them down, but at the same time, we're trying to rehab some of them and then either selling them or giving them away.
I see all these house flippers on these reality shows on TV. I just think, couldn't we have a flip of the Trenton blighted properties, turn them around? And I don't know, it seems like an opportunity for somebody to take real estate, rehab it, and to make some money. I know you guys have taken this on from City Hall's perspective and from the mayor's office, where you're purchasing the properties, you guys are trying to rehab them. And ultimately, would you then sell those properties?
Yeah, we're not adverse. There are some legal requirements, but if you see an abandoned house and you can say, I could fix that up, come into City Hall and inquire about it. If there's a way we could sell it. The problem is the state law, if it is not in an opportunity zone or a redevelopment zone, it has to be auctioned off. So you have to fairly open it up to anyone. But if it's in a rehabilitation zone, the city can make a one-on-one transaction with you. So it really depends on where that abandoned home is.
It just seems like opportunities in that area when it comes to real estate in Trenton. And Mayor, I know if you get elected to another term, you're going to continue that project of purchasing those rehabbed or taking those structures that are blighted and rehabbing them.
Yes, we're going to either take down the worst ones that can't be saved, and then we're going to rehab the ones that can be saved.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we return, I would like Mayor Gusciora to kind of outline some of the issues that are in play when it comes to the election in November. So that's coming up, and we'll find out what people are thinking about and what they're going to vote on when we return to Trenton Today in just a moment.
Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, Advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org.
Are you a parrot head?
Wasted away again in Margarita.
Not that kind. That's more like it. If you're this kind of parrot head, don't forget to check out the Denny O Polka Show every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon right here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Hi, this is Mayor Jeff Martin of Hamilton Township, inviting you to tune in to our monthly radio show, This Month in Hamilton. Video stream live the fourth Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m. at WBCB1490.com. We will be featuring various guests from Hamilton Township to keep you up to date on what's going on in Hamilton.
The Salvation Army of Greater Trenton and Mercer County is looking for volunteers to help give back to the community. From advisory board members to volunteering with one of their many programs, like their mobile feeding programs. Volunteers are critical partners in helping the Salvation Army fulfill their promise of doing the most good. For more information on how you can help the Salvation Army of Greater Trenton, call their offices at 609-599-9373. That's 609-599-9373. Or visit their website at salvationarmynj.org or Facebook page at Salvation Army Trenton Citadel.
Opinions matter, and so does yours. Hi, I'm Joe Fabrizi, inviting you to join us every Monday at 1 p.m. for Opinions Matter, right here on 1490 AM WBCB. Opinions Matter is now live streamed at WBCB1490.com. We want to hear from you because your opinion does matter.
Hey, this is Jonesy. Kick off your Thursday and Friday evenings in style. Join me for an eclectic freeform mix of the hits and beyond. It's a happening, a musical journey. It's the Glenn Jones Radio Experience, right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m., directly following the legendary Jerry Blavitt. Radio, the way it ought to be.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3. Welcome to the capital of neurosciences at Capital Health. The human brain and spine are very complex, and treating them requires a hospital that offers a combination of technology and specialists that are united by a single defining purpose, putting you and your family at the center of exceptional care. From brain tumors and spinal disease to strokes and aneurysms, if it involves the brain and spine, there's only one Capital Institute for Neurosciences, and it's at Capital Health. To learn more, visit capitalneuro.org. That's capitalneuro.org.
Back here at Trenton Central High School with Trenton Today, Mayor Gusciora, Jess Mazzario with us for our discussion. So, Mayor, outline the issues at play when it comes to the mayor's race and some of the city council races that are going on.
Okay. There's 4 candidates for mayor, and there's 22 candidates for 7 council spots. If in the mayor's race, have to get 51%. Otherwise, you'll have to have a runoff a month later between the top 2 candidates. That happened 4 years ago. We had 8 candidates, and then we had 2 candidates at the runoff. In any individual council race, whether it's at large or a ward, they have to get 51%. One person has to get 51% out of the 3 at-large candidates, and otherwise there would be a runoff.
I mean, there's something about that seems refreshing to me. Like when we're getting into these political situations where it's either a Democrat or a Republican, either one side or the other. To have 4 different candidates, a potential runoff.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about that seems the
Un-American.
Well, maybe a better system of choosing an elected leader than just having either A or B. You got 4 choices, and if one of those choices is extremely popular, they're the mayor. If not, then there's going to be a runoff, and I don't know. I feel like the issues would get hashed out more that way.
We're nonpartisan, so no one runs as a Democrat or a Republican or an independent, or for that matter. Everyone runs on an even playing field. There's a draw of the 4 mayoral candidates. I was picked number 2, so my position is number 2. But yeah, no one is identified with the Republican or Democratic Party.
So that's where you're going to be on the ballot. You'll be listed second.
Second, yeah.
Even having some of those choices, something about the system of having either a Republican or a Democrat, it feels like there's something that is a little bit broken in a third choice or some other way to think about things. I feel like would be a very healthy development. I mean, that's like the third rail where a third party never really works. But, I mean, maybe if it gets developed and cultivated, it doesn't seem like it's impossible.
But that would be a political decision on the federal level to say, all right, nonpartisan elections for Congress, nonpartisan elections for president. And I doubt that would probably happen because it's a political decision. The majority party is probably comfortable running as the majority party. So I doubt either where the Republicans are in the majority, they would say, let's do nonpartisan elections. And I doubt Democratic states would say, let's do nonpartisan elections.
All right, so you've set up the field for us.
Yes.
What are the major issues that people are debating?
I still think it's 4 main ones. There's crime, as Jess mentioned. People want to know what we're doing about public safety. We had 15 homicides so far this year. A year ago, we had 40 total. So we have a reduction in the amount of homicides. We have a reduction in shooting. So we think some of the strategy is working. The balance between more police, but also all these alternative programs where we could really keep kids in school and make sure that they're focused on the real things in life. So public safety is very important. The water, Trenton Water Works, we service 5 municipalities, including our own. We have to change lead service lines. Back in the 50s, they used soldering that had lead in it to connect all the pipes. Well, now we're in the process of replacing them. We've replaced about 25% of all the pipes, and we have that much more to go. We're also doing upgrades to the water treatment plant to make sure that it is kept current with environmental technology. And then we're also going to replace the reservoir, where we have one source where we keep all the water before it's used in your home. We want to diffuse it in a system of water tanks in all the 5 municipalities, because if something goes wrong in one, they could borrow the water from the other municipalities, rather than if something happens with the reservoir, the whole system is shut down.
Yeah, it's a huge responsibility, and if you raised rates, would that help to pay for? Are those rates locked in because it's a municipal service?
The water utility is still better than the private utilities that are out there. If you compare Trenton Water with American Water, we have better, more competitive rates. And because we don't, at the end of the day, we're not really looking for a profit, but to pay the bills. And Trenton does nonetheless make some money, and it goes into our general fund. Other issues include economic development. People want jobs. They want to see more businesses come in. As businesses come in, they're able to offer people jobs so that, again, they're not involved in the drug trade or the gang affiliation. and bring in tax revenue. The more businesses we can set up, they'll bring in revenue to us. And then finally is education is extremely important. And there's this big issue about redistricting for little kids below the high school level. We have a central high school, but we have about 24 schools throughout the city.
And the City Hall, separate from the Board of Education.
Yes.
And they're ultimately hoping to get the class size down a little bit. Jess, what's your experience? What would you say Trenton Central High School could do in order to improve the experience for the students here and better education for you? And I mean, right now they're working on a smaller class size teacher ratio thing.
I feel like that would definitely help, because I know with me, sometimes I need one-on-one help.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a class of like over 30 kids with one teacher, yeah, that ain't happening. You know what I mean? So, and I honestly think we need more teachers. That's just a fact. We need more teachers. We're understaffed. Right now, I don't have necessarily a biology teacher. I kind of have a sub at the moment. And I feel like, speaking about like council, like you were saying before, we actually have 2 teachers running for councilwoman at large.
That's correct.
Miss Feliciano and Miss Gonzalez at Tenga.
Yes.
And I really think it's so important to have teachers and people that are in the community and know exactly what it's like to work with kids, so they know what their needs are, opposed to somebody from the outside looking in.
Yeah, and I think, you're the generation that's going to take over for the city. You'll be the next leaders. And I think it is good that having educators on council so they can have that appreciation. And the city, although there's a disconnect between City Hall and the Board of Education, there still should be a lot more cross currents so that we could be more supportive of the school system.
Right, because I'm going to be the student board representative. I'm going to my first board meeting next week, and I really want to kind of come together and fix the issues that students are having, like, for example, the lunches, all that kind of stuff. I want to, basically, I'm going to communicate with the board, and all of us will come to some sort of agreement and figure things out and make things better for student life over here.
Great. What's the issue with the lunches?
Lunches, I had interviewed Ermer about it. A lot of kids don't eat school lunch. Also the portion sizes, we've had the same portion sizes as like elementary school. And we have athletic teams, like athletic sports, and how do you expect a 200-pound 6-foot guy to eat the same amount of food as an elementary schooler?
Sure.
Can't.
All right, just for school board.
It seems like a pretty good candidate. The other issue that you talked about before we got started, besides water, education, and public safety, economic development in Trenton. One of the big issues, and again, we go back to that Montgomery Street project and some other things that your office has been engaged in, and those projects are kind of ongoing at this point.
Yeah, and that's actually part of economic development. You want a city that's inviting for people. If you think of the most beautiful cities, Paris or San Francisco, they go there because they're attracted to the beauty, the museums, that there's stuff to do, the parks are beautiful. So the more we can spruce up Trenton, it's going to be more inviting for people to come in, spend money, and really help tax revenue. One of the things we're excited about in 2026 will be America's 250th anniversary, and we hope to attract historic tourism because we are the crossroads of the Revolution. This was the turning point of the Revolutionary War. We have dozens of historic sites that people can come and look to. Not everybody even knows about them, so we want to bring a lot of awareness. The Douglas House is where George Washington set up headquarters and planned the Battle of Princeton. And that's in Mill Hill Park, so that would be a good tourist attraction.
Well, I need to do a little research. Maybe we can talk about that next month here on Trenton Today, some of the history
lesson
of Trenton. There have been a couple of properties that were rehabbed, right? Businesses moved in, and I'm forgetting the details, but it's similar to what you guys have been doing with some of the blighted properties. There were former industry here in Trenton, those industrial locations then rehabbed and someone else able to move in there.
Yeah, there's 3 Roebling blocks. For instance, I know that on Roebling Block 2, there are 7 abandoned buildings the city owns. We don't want to own them. We would love for a developer to come in and rehab them, bring mixed use, bring in new apartments, living spaces, bring in some light industry. But in Roebling Block 3, we helped attract Princeton Hydro. It's a water engineering firm from Somerset County, and they moved their whole entire operation to Trenton. So we're really excited. And they're actually helping us with Trenton Waterworks issues, whether it's closing the reservoir or making sure the reservoir is adequately treated. And so it was almost a godsend that Princeton Hydro came to us. That not only are we glad that there's a new business here, but that they're actually helping us on our problems.
And as those things come together, is there a tax break that is given to incentivize those businesses to come in? Or, I mean, is there tax revenue coming in from those businesses into the city of Trenton?
Well, absolutely. Most importantly, they're creating jobs, and they actually want to make a relationship with the high school because they would love to take some of our STEM students and give them opportunities to intern. We used an incentive grant from we're a urban enterprise zone, which businesses that are in the urban enterprise zone can cut the sales tax from 7% to 3.5%. So it's an incentive for people to come and buy in Trenton because they're in urban enterprise zones. Well, the city generates money from the sales tax, and we have $2 million currently in the urban enterprise zone account. We're able to offer incentive loans for businesses to come in, and we gave Princeton Hydro a $250,000 incentive loan to come into Trenton, which they took us up on the offer.
Making it happen.
Making it happen.
Making the deal.
It happen, yeah.
Oh, and bringing industry and jobs here to Trenton. We're talking with Mayor Gusciora. It's Trenton Today on WBCB. When we get back to our discussion, want to ask the mayor about healthcare in the city of Trenton. Seems like there's some good stuff and there's some not so good stuff.
No,
and
those are called challenges.
When we get back, we'll talk about the challenges that are on the horizon for Trenton. It's Trenton Today on WBCB.
The Salvation Army of Greater Trenton and Mercer County is looking for volunteers to help give back to the community. From advisory board members to volunteering with one of their many programs, like their mobile feeding programs. Volunteers are critical partners in helping the Salvation Army fulfill their promise of doing the most good. For more information on how you can help the Salvation Army of Greater Trenton, call their offices at 609-599-9373. That's 609-599-9373. Or visit their website at salvationarmynj.org or Facebook page at Salvation Army Trenton Citadel. Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org. WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
Hey, this is Jonesy. Kick off your Thursday and Friday evenings in style. Join me for an eclectic freeform mix of the hits and beyond. It's a happening, a musical journey. It's the Glenn Jones Radio Experience, right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m., directly following the legendary Jerry Blavitt. Radio, the way it ought to be.
Are you a parrot head?
We stayed away again in Margaritaville.
Not that kind. That's more like it. If you're this kind of parrot head, don't forget to check out the Denny O Polka Show every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon right here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Back here at Trenton Central, home of the Tornadoes. Tonight, it's back to school night, October 12th. College assessment night. They got the PSATs and the SATs. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I was right.
Jess Mazzario joining us, a junior at Trenton Central, and with us, the Honorable Mayor, Reed Gusciora. All right, so Mayor Gusciora, I saw a story, Capital Health investing $10 million in the community in order to help support health care. I wasn't exactly sure, it wasn't clear to me how that $10 million is going to be spent, but basically they're looking for better health outcomes for Trentonians.
Yeah, they're going to invest in the North Ward where Helene Fold Hospital is located. And what they want to do is invest in the neighborhood. Some of the neighborhood housing is inadequate. They'd love to rehab some of these abandoned houses. There's, I think, 231 of them. And this is where nurses and hospital aides could live.
Right.
And it also elevates the standing of the neighborhood, where more housing, more bodies, more people walking back and forth really lessens the crime there. But also to give more options where you could treat seniors in the neighborhood. It's called naturally occurring retirement communities, where we could bring the health care directly to the community. Ultimately, they'll have less need of hospital care. They don't need any more customers because a lot of the hospitals, it's a shrinking population of hospitals, but if we can keep folks healthy, they'll lessen their hospital stays. So there's a method in their madness by actually investing in the community which the hospital serves. We'll get a more healthy community, and it will be a win-win for everyone.
Did you take a look at the St. Francis facilities and have someone explain to you kind of why it wasn't viable anymore for them to use that facility?
Yeah, they had a number of suitors. One of them was Cooper Hospital down in Camden. They started the merger and then they abandoned it. Robert Wood Johnson was certainly interested in it. It's going to take about $100 million to fix up that hospital. And Trinity Healthcare, which has a number of over 50 hospitals in the northeast part of the United States, St. Francis is one of them. And they had to make the economic decision of whether they had the capital to revitalize the hospital, rebuild the hospital. The parking deck alone is structurally unsound. So if you wanted to visit a patient in the hospital, you had to just park in the neighborhood. A hospital that doesn't even have parking access shows what a dire need is for rehabilitating that building. And if you go in there, it's just an aged building, and healthcare has changed now. There are less stays in the hospital, and they provide a lot of charity care, which we, as hospitals under state law, have to take all comers. Charity care is only reimbursed not 100%. So there's all these factors came in where Trinity said they couldn't keep the hospital any longer. Capital Health will take over the hospital. They'll consolidate at Helene Fold, but also leave a mission there on the footprint of St. Francis, which will be a win-win for the community.
And oh my God, speaking about St. Francis, because I heard about it as well. Do you know what they're going to use that property for?
Well, they're going to continue the ER, the emergency room services for now. I think that once they take down the old building and take down the garage, they can have a medical arts campus there and expand their services. So I think it's, in the long run, it will be good. No one likes radical change, but Trinity is walking away from this hospital, whether we like it or not.
Well, hopefully at some point that gets rehabbed and medical services building, something of that nature to, make sure every Trentonian is served as best as possible.
Absolutely.
You also mentioned some of the logistics.
We can see
right.
St. Francis.
The logistics with some of the school redistricting.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned that they're trying to get the class to teacher ratio down a little bit, but it sounds like people who are late to register their children, sometimes they're not able to go to the school that's in their neighborhood, that's closest to them.
Yeah, we wanted to get the student teacher ratio down to 21-1, and some of the facilities are just really outgrown in population. Dunn Middle School, for instance, has had 950 students. That's down to 600. So if you didn't adequately prepare for it and your parents showed up with the student on opening day, Dunn is filled, so we have to find another school that your child can go to.
You mentioned that sometimes those are immigrant families that are moving into the area for the first time.
Yeah.
And it brings up another nationwide issue that I would just like for you to address. Busing immigrants to Martha's Vineyard or to New York City or potentially to Trenton, New Jersey. And how would that stress some of the social services that you are able to provide? Has Trenton received any buses of immigrants that we haven't heard about?
Well, we have immigrants every day, and our school system is reflective of that. We have rolling admissions where parents come in. I was at a school last year in the middle of the year, and a mother came in with their child from Honduras and was registering their child for that day for the first time, had just come to Trenton. So it is an influx of immigrants. I get what the Texas and the Florida governors are saying, that we have such an influx of immigrants, we want to share them. But it was a cruel hoax on them by saying, get in this bus, this is where your new home will be, and then they send them somewhere where that was inadequate to take care of them. So I think that the entire country has to deal with the immigration issue, but it shouldn't be done through cruel hoaxes or
Gimmicks.
Political
gimmicks.
Or pitting one state against another.
Yeah, I agree. We were just talking about this, I believe, today or yesterday in my English class. We were talking about the same issue, that how cruel it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why lie to people? Just be honest, like, hey, we can't help you. You know what I mean? Honesty goes a long way.
Get on this luxury bus and we'll take you somewhere.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and my grandparents were all immigrants. So one set came from Poland, one set came from Italy, and that's how our family was settled. But came through Ellis Island, and they did fine. My grandfather was a butcher up in North Jersey.
I had kind of a surprise years ago when my father revealed that my grandmother, who was from Scotland, actually kind of went around the official immigration process and lived in the country illegally for many years. But he talked about how afraid she was to go out, to engage in public, to look for social services that might have been available to the family. And it was really a surprise to me. We're all from immigrants at some point along the line of being Americans, but it changed my perspective on how many people get caught up in the immigration system and maybe go around this. They think they're going to be able to stay and not be hassled. But I know for my grandmother, it was something that was almost constantly on her mind and gave me a different understanding of some of the challenges that illegal immigrants go through. And I mean, my other belief is that immigrants in America are a positive thing. And we've always been a nation of immigrants, and these people are willing to do jobs sometimes other people are not as willing to do. And to me, when you look at the labor force and all those other things, it's a net positive for America. I realize it has to be done in the right way, and some controls need to be in place. But I hope people recognize the contributions that people who were not born in this country make to the U.S. of A.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, because I've heard the argument before that, oh, well, immigrants come over here and they steal our jobs.
They take stuff.
They don't. They're
Right.
just taking the jobs that people don't want to do.
Or they somehow get all this stuff from social services or something. Like, that's a lot more difficult than people think it is. And more often, it's a real struggle for those individuals. And
and right now there's a labor shortage, and so a lot of immigrants are able to fill that void. But just here in the school system itself, Jess was saying we need more teachers, we need more substitutes, we even need more cafeteria workers. So there is definitely a role that immigrants have and will continue to play in this country.
Well, speaking of playing a role, it's great to have Jess with us today on the show. And when we return in just a little bit, want to ask her about her time at Mercer Street Friends. And you were doing some work over there?
Yes.
All right, we'll talk about that when we get back to Trenton Today on WBCB.
The Salvation Army of Greater Trenton and Mercer County is looking for volunteers to help give back to the community. From advisory board members to volunteering with one of their many programs, like their mobile feeding programs. Volunteers are critical partners in helping the Salvation Army fulfill their promise of doing the most good. For more information on how you can help the Salvation Army of Greater Trenton, call their offices at 609-599-9373. That's 609-599-9373. Or visit their website at salvationarmynj.org or Facebook page at Salvation Army Trenton Citadel.
Hey, this is Jonesy. Kick off your Thursday and Friday evenings in style. Join me for an eclectic freeform mix of the hits and beyond. It's a happening, a musical journey. It's the Glenn Jones radio experience right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m., directly following the legendary Jerry Blavitt. Radio, the way it ought to be.
Welcome to the capital of neurosciences at Capitol Health. The human brain and spine are very complex, and treating them requires a hospital that offers a combination of technology and specialists that are united by a single defining purpose, putting you and your family at the center of exceptional care. From brain tumors and spinal disease to strokes and aneurysms, if it involves the brain and spine, there's only one Capitol Institute for Neurosciences, and it's at Capitol Health. To learn more, visit capitalneuro.org. That's capitalneuro.org. WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
Back to Trenton Today on WBCB. Each month, we get together with Mayor Gusciora, pepper him with a bunch of questions, figure out what's going on in Trenton today. With us, our student guest, Jess Mazzario, a junior at Trenton Central High School. And you were telling us you did some work for Mercer Street Friends.
Correct.
How did all that come together, and what was the nature of your job?
Okay, so my wonderful guidance counselor here at Trenton High, shout out to Ms. Rockman.
What up?
Shout out to her, she's amazing. She's the guidance counselor here at Communications. She had told me about this job, same goes to Mr. Francis, shout out to him.
What up?
They both told me about the job, and ironically, I already knew Miss Trapp because I had made a flyer for her. So it was already a little bit past the deadline to apply for the job. However, Ms. Rockman was able to get in contact with her. They made an exception, and then I started my job with Ms. Trapp, and I worked at Columbus Elementary School. I worked with kids 1st to 3rd, and it was amazing. I really loved my job. My whole role was during the summer camp was to help take attendance, help the teacher, because it's like basically school but in the summer. You know, so there's a whole lessons.
Kids are getting crazy.
Yeah.
Summertime. You got to calm them down a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But to fulfill that, because we didn't necessarily have a recess, but I told them next time around maybe we should have that. But we did have specials like dance, help give them out their energy, music. So kind of basically like a school day, because some of these kids in the program, they never really been to school, especially like younger kids. There were some kindergartners there and whatnot. They never really experienced school, so this was their first time. So it was a hard adjustment, but I mean honestly, the kids were lovely. I really got along with them. They got along with me, and
sounds like a neat experience.
Yeah, because the thing is, I would like to be an educator when I grow up. So it was a wonderful experience for me. I want to be
an enriching experience, not
right, and
a little more descriptive than neat.
Yeah, and I want to be an elementary school teacher when I grow up, or a school guidance counselor. I'm trying to figure that out, because ever since I was younger, I've always cared about my community, and I've always loved helping people. That's just what I do.
Mayor, can you tell us more about the mission of Mercer Street Friends?
They're similar in mission to Trenton Area Soup Kitchen. They're a nonprofit that is based in the community, provides pantry services, but also clothing. They get into school. They get into tutoring. So they get into a wide area of interest that really just helps the community.
Good way to give back.
Good support.
So, Jess, you're also a photographer.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you get out and cover some of the events that the mayor is doing.
Right.
Is that for Trenton Central? Just your own interest as somebody who's trying to get into the media world?
It's a mixture of both, honestly. A lot of the photography I do, like at graduation, that was more for like yearbook and Trenton High. But honestly, it's both. It's my passion, and the school needs photographers, so it just works out. Shout out to Ms. Rouge.
What up?
She's amazing. She's the photography teacher here at Trenton High, and I took her photography class last year, and it really started to develop my passion. I've always been passionate about photography, and as soon as I started taking a photography class, it grew on me more.
Wow, the Trentonians should listen up. I mean, you could do kind of freelancing with some of your photography. Where can people see some of your work? Before you were talking about Instagram, but it sounds like that was kind of a private page.
Yeah, usually I don't show my work with everybody. Usually it's on the yearbook, or sometimes I'll send it to people directly. If I take pictures of them, I'll get their contact information, send it to them directly. But usually it's on my Instagram. I'll post a couple, highlights, and maybe highlight 10 of my best photos of that event. I post on my Instagram and people will see it.
Cool. Check it out. Jess Mazzario with us here on Trenton Today. Mayor, any events upcoming in the city of Trenton? I know before we've talked about the Lantern Festivals and Chinese New Year and stuff like that. You guys, any celebrations coming up?
We are starting to plan for Patriots Week, which would have a bunch of events associated with George Washington's crossing of the Delaware.
Again, I got to do my historical research here for next month's show.
Yes, and we started an event called Firewalk, where we light fires in baskets all along the Assunpink River, or Assunpink Creek. And representative of when George Washington crossed the creek, the British stayed on the other side. George Washington lit fires, and the British thought they were encamped. when they had taken off for Princeton through the back way. Not only did they beat the British twice in the First and Second Battle of Trenton,
Kind of made them look foolish.
made
That's
them look
good.
foolish, and
Yeah.
then they went up to Princeton and they won that one as well. So that is why that's really the turning point of the war. There were soldiers that were expiring on their commissions. They were all ready to go back to their farms, and he really convinced them to stick it out until the end. But for the leadership of General Washington, we'd probably be celebrating
Brits?
or Britain, yeah.
We'd have to watch that Queen's funeral.
Yes.
It would be mandatory.
Yes, I
I
think
skipped
that-
it myself, but I know a lot of Americans
A lot of
still were
Americans
tuned
watch it.
in to
Yeah.
that whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we don't have
And
to
then
worry
you
about
have
the
a
Queen.
parliamentary system, which is multi-parties.
Well, to me, there's something about the multi-party system that seems welcome, but that might be also a topic
Yeah.
for another time. All right, we got just a few minutes, and anything, Jess, you want to ask the mayor about? We'll put you on the spot here.
There is something I want to mention is that I'm trying to get a group together of students to help, because speaking of history, Trenton Central High School is a part of Trenton's history. There's so much history here. So we were thinking about getting a group of students together to give like tours to the public. There's many people that graduated many years ago that want to come and see the high school.
Yeah.
There's I've been asked by many people that used to come here many years ago, like in 1980 or something like that, like really long time ago.
1980.
And the fact that we've incorporated a lot of the old high school into the architecture of the new high school, so you could see a lot of remnants from the old high school. And there's a lot of history from the old Central High School. Its building, though, was literally falling apart.
Yeah, I saw the news video about that. But I
and-
mean, we have this wonderful school here. It's
Yeah.
rebuilt. They do amazing promo-thon boards, a whole bunch of opportunities here, and I feel like the students really love the building.
Brianne O'Neill is our video engineer today, and I want to ask her, we got Trenton Central on the radio or on WBCB Sports this weekend? No?
No, we have their next game. They're playing tonight. We have their next
Gotcha,
game
they're-
against, I think, Notre Dame.
Oh, next time they're playing at, no, they're playing tonight?
We're away tonight at Pennsauken, 6 p.m.
At Pennsauken. What the heck? Thursday night football.
Thursday night football, there we go.
Okay.
And homecoming's coming up, right?
Yep, you already know I'm
October
gonna be
8th.
there. Taking pictures.
Who are we beating?
I'm not sure.
Hopo Valley? Oh, okay.
Okay. And WBCB
Look out.
will be there for homecoming, Brianne?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. All right,
Are
so
you going to be in the homecoming parade?
I might be up in the broadcast booth doing
okay.
play-by-play for the game. Otherwise, no. No, I would
okay.
not be in the homecoming parade regardless
I mean,
of...
I'll be there running, catching up, taking pictures probably.
All right. Well, I'm planning on the homecoming parade myself.
Yeah, you're going to be
It's excitement.
in the mix?
Yes, yes.
All right, well...
But we've got a great crowd out, and it's very festive. And then, and it's good to see all the alumni that have remained loyalty to the high school.
And as part of the WBCB Sports Department, I want to thank all the Trenton Central people who make us feel welcome, not just for this show, but when we do come on campus for high school football, high school basketball, high school baseball, whatever it is. They always roll out the red carpet for us, make sure that we're set up and taken care of, and we really appreciate that. We don't always get that same kind of treatment at every high school that we go to, but really great at Trenton Central, and we appreciate it very much. Unfortunately, we're not going to be there for tonight's game, Thursday night football, but best of luck to the Tornadoes against Pennsauken. Thanks to Mr. Coniglio for helping out with everything today. Of course, thank you to Mayor Gusciora for being with us, Brianne O'Neill, our engineer, and thanks so much to Jess for hanging out. That was awesome. You did a great job.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
All right.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, Brianna.
That'll do
Thank
it
you,
for
Mr. C.
Trenton Today. We'll be back with you next month on WBCB.